Venezuela's President Nicolás Maduro Moros arrived in Baku, Azerbaijan's capital, as part of his regional tour. Several civil society sectors in Ecuador joined the national strike called by the Confederation of Indigenous Nationalities against the policies of President Guillermo Lazo's government. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said on Thursday that relations with the European Union are no longer one of Moscow's priorities. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Marrero from the teleSUR headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. We begin with the news. Stay with us. Venezuela's President Nicolás Maduro Moros arrived in Baku, Azerbaijan's capital, as part of his Eurasian tour. Azerbaijan is the sixth nation the South American head of state visits. Previously, President Maduro met with the higher authorities of Qatar, Cuba, Turkey, Iran, and Algeria. The Venezuelan president aims with his international tour to promote the construction of a multipolar world and boost cooperation in areas such as science, technology, agriculture, transportation, energy, tourism, and culture.
The moment has come to embrace the new era, a new time of cooperation. In Qatar, we have an extraordinary meetings. In every sense, we review investment plan from Qatari businessmen regarding oil, in tourism, food production, to increase trade. We are going to have a direct flight starting in October from Caracas to Doha.
As part of his tour around a Eurasian country, this time in Qatar, the President of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro Moros, visited the impressive Lusail Stadium, the venue that will host the most important soccer games of the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022. This state-of-the-art stadium was designed to be an exquisite representation of the Arab world, but bowls and pieces of art typically of the region. During his tour of the largest stadium of Qatar, the President Nicolás Maduro visited the facilities that can accommodate more than 80,000 fans. All the spaces of this groundbreaking stadium have air conditioning to guarantee maximum comfort for athletes and visitors. Venezuelan head of state also turned to a spear economy responsible for training high performances athletes for the most important soccer competition in the world. The visit concluded at the Hospital specializing in orthopedics and sport medicine. This center is considered one of the hospitals with the best treatment for sport-related injuries. Venezuela and Ecuador commemorate the bicentennial of the first meeting between Manuel Sáenz and Simón Bolívar in the city of Quito, Ecuador. From Caracas National Cemetery, Venezuelan authorities celebrated the 200th anniversary of the first meeting of Manuel Sáenz and Simón Bolívar. Sáenz, who was born in Quito in 1795, was the native daughter of Simón Sáenz, a Spanish merchant and royalist, and Maria Joaquina de Aispuru, beyond making the beginning of deep and immeasurable love. It is testimony of the union of two distinguished militias of the independence revolution, whom from then on fought tirelessly from the liberation of the peoples of America from Spanish colonial rule. During the ceremony, the President of Venezuela, Nicolás Maduro, expressed from Azerbaijan his admiration for Bolívar and Sáenz.
And today from Caracas, Venezuela, we celebrate the 200 years of love, of life, of the freedom of Manuela and Simón. I want to send to this official event, to this beautiful event, which is taking place in Caracas. From here in Baku, capital of Azerbaijan. From this successful Eurasian tour, from this necessary tour, I want to send my greetings, my embrace, my loving memory to Bolivar, our Bolivar, and to Manuela, the giant, the colonel.
In Chile, the prices of fuel will increase as this Thursday. This was announced by the national oil company. The prices of 93 and 97 octanes gasolines and diesel will increase by 11.8 pesos per liter, while liquefied petroleum gas will increase by 11 and 6 pesos per liter. The company said it decides this increase based on the import parity prices rule, the fuel stabilization mechanism, and the oil prices stabilization fund, which regulate this decision in the sector. This is the first price hike after more than resources allotted to the fuel stabilization mechanism approved by the Chilean Congress in the previous weeks. Argentina's Yacyretá hydroelectric power plant, the largest one shared with Paraguay, is operating at full capacity after the recovery of the Panama River. Specialists affirm that the reactivation of the Yacyretá hydroelectric power plant reduces the pressure on Argentina's electricity grid, specifically on the system's thermal power plants. Statistics from the binational company show that during the last weeks, the largest electric power generated in the country reached a maximum power of over 3,000 megabytes due to the activation of its 20 generating units and its increase in the flow of the Paraná River. We'll take a short break now. Join us again after this. Welcome back. Several civil society sectors in Ecuador joined the national strike called by the Confederation of Indigenous Nationalities against the policies of President Guillermo Lazo's government. During the fourth day of the national strike, a group of cab drivers on school transport joined the mobilizations. At least 12 provinces of the country reported road barricades set up by the demonstrators. Various social movements and civil societies continue to carry out street actions in rejection of citizen security, the increase of prices of basic products, and fuel budget cuts in the education and health sectors, among others. Meanwhile, groups of parliamentarians experts expressed their solidarity with the marches and rallies in several cities of the country, calling for dialogue in search of solutions to the people's demands. On the first day of the national strike, the Confederation of Indigenous Nationalities made a statement through its Twitter account. The statement said, "We won with proposal to the second dialogue on November 10, 2021, but accordingly they received also with mistreatment in June 2022. The government continues to prefer a repressive policy and criminalization of protests. Under these conditions, the national strike is legitimate long life to the system." The Uruguayan Confederation of States Employment Organization mobilized in rejection of the labor deterioration undertaken by the government. Civil servants rallied in Montevideo on Thursday in response to the Confederation's report 6% wages loss accumulated over the last 2 years. According to President of the Confederation, Martin Pereira, the objective of the demonstration is to demand acceptable working conditions, the incorporation of new health personnel, and to condemn the 15% cut of resources for the health sector. The march, which began in front of the seat of government's executive tower and headed towards the Ministry of Economy and Finance, gathered officials from all states agencies with a significant presence of public health workers. On Thursday, Bulgaria's parliament dismissed its president Nicolás Maduro after a vote of no confidence. The reason for the crisis is the certainty that Petkov is holding secret negotiations with Brussels to lift Bulgaria's veto against the start of North Macedonia's negotiations to join the European Union. That is why a total of 125 deputies voted in favor of Minchev's dismissal. Minchev is one of the PESCO's closest collaborators. There were 113 votes against and 1 abstention. These not confidence votes against Minchev by the Conservative Party of Citizens for the European Development of Bulgaria might ensure the fall of Peskov's executive. Russia, Iran, and Turkey agreed to make further efforts to ensure calm in Syria's Idlib de-escalation area, the three countries said in a joint statement after talks in Kazakhstan. At the conclusion of the ASEAN talks, the three states renewed their commitment to the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Syria, stressing their determination to continue working to fight terrorism of all its forms. The countries reaffirmed their stand against separatist agendas aimed at undermining peace and territorial safety of Syria, condemning the terrorist attacks targeting civilian facilities in Damascus. The final statement stressed the need to continue ongoing cooperation to eliminate ISIS and al-Nusra terrorism and the groups associated with them. Mexico's National Meteorological Service reported that hurricane blasts move on the Pacific Ocean off the coast of the Michoacan and Colima states with sustained winds of 140 kilometers per hour. The second tropical cyclone of the season is located 300 kilometers west of Punta San Telmo, state of Michoacan, and 350 kilometers south of the industrial and commercial port of Manzanillo, state of Colima. Authorities recommended the population and maritime navigations to exercise extreme caution in the mountain states and surrounding areas due to heavy rains, heavy winds, and waves. The government agency urged the public to follow the recommendations issued by the authorities of the National Civil Protection System in each state affected by the storm. We have more news coming up after this final short break, so don't go away. Welcome back. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said on Thursday relations with the European Union are no longer one of Moscow's priorities. The Russian Foreign Minister said that if the West shows a desire to renew relations with Russia, the Kremlin will take into consideration the importance of future agreements. The diplomat also assured that the West is the reflection of arrogance and self-righteousness, while stressing that today the European Union has imposed at least 6 packages of sanctions against Russia. Among the sanctions approved by the West are the suspension of the 3 Russian banks and 1 Belarusian bank from the SWIFT system, as well as the partial embargo on Russian oil. Myanmar's government proposed at the International Economic Forum in St. Petersburg, Russia, to adopt the Chinese yuan and the Russian ruble for payment between Asian countries. Myanmar's Minister of Investment and External Economic Relations, Aung Nhan Oh, raised the idea as an alternative to face the financial difficulties within the Eurasian Economic Union and Asia. The official explained that these two currencies could become the option to overcome the differences between the countries at a time of international calculations and pavement. The minister highlighted the potential of his nation in the construction of railway infrastructure as an alternative for transporting from India to eastern China, passing through the Burman territory. In the framework of the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum, the president of the American Chamber of Commerce in Russia, Robert A., stated that only 11% of the United States oil companies left the Russian hydrocarbon market. While explaining the numbers, the executive said that 85% of U.S. companies decided to stay in the Eurasian nation and 4% have yet to make a decision. He added that relations with Russian unions and associations such as the Russian Union of Industrialism and Entrepreneurs remains strong. Despite last week's statement issued by the State's Department spokesman Ned Price about the countries not attending the forum and ordering world leaders and businesses to join the Bitcoin, the attendance has been noticeable since the first day of the event. In fact, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce appeared in the list of speakers. More than 185,000 children in Ethiopia are suffering from the most severe form of undernourishment and the rate of malnutrition soaring in the eastern and southern part of the country. The NGO Save the Children said in a statement on Thursday that more than 1 million people are in need of urgent nutritional assistance in Ethiopia's region of Somalia, Oromia, and the southwest. These regions cover the entire southeastern quarter and a large part of the southwestern quarter of the country, the second most populous in Africa with 120 million inhabitants. According to the UN humanitarian agency OCHA, from nearly 2 years, the longest drought in recent history has ravaged the Horn of Africa, threatening part of its population with starvation. Save the Children expects extreme malnutrition to worsen in the coming months as the lifestyle of mainly pastoral population in the affected areas have been decimated. Flights were cancelled, public transport ground to a halt, and government offices were closed in the nationwide strike by Tunisia's main trade union confederation on Thursday that put pressure on the president Kais Saied, already facing a strict crisis. The powerful General Labor Union Confederation had called on up to 3 million public sector workers to strike, telling a world that nearly 159 state agencies and public companies to demand consensus on salaries and threaten reforms. The actions appeared to be wildly absurd. A strike by public sector workers at Tunis airports saw dozens of flights cancelled while public utilities and post offices were closed. In a speech before the people mobilized south the UGTT headquarters, the Secretary General of the Confederation, Nordei Tabure, said that the actions have been over 96% successful and blamed the government for the collapse of the salary negotiations.
What brought us to this situation is this government. If we have come to this point, it is because this is a stubborn government which sow discord and spreads false information. The program that was presented to the IMF for economic reforms is what we should be presented to the people, and not the nice titles. Tell the truth to the people.
teleSUR Spanish signal with a new satellite parameters since more than ever the world connects to us and our stories are being heard all around the world. These parameters are in place since June 1st in Latin America and the Caribbean, both in English and Spanish, and quite soon further changes will be implemented for the signal in Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. This new multi-platform will continue providing truthful content to oppose the hegemonic media's narrative or faithfulness to our audience. We have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on our socials. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram as well. We now leave you with images of the Emery Diwat Palace at the state of Qatar, one of the prime and most beautiful architectural pieces of Doha, the Qatari capital. The palace was chosen venue for Venezuela's President Nicolás Maduro welcoming ceremony, accompanied by the Emir of Qatar, Tamim bin Al-Thani, and other top officials. From teleSUR English and from the South, I'm Ana Marrero, and thank you for watching.
felices acá en Qatar.
أنا في البداية أرحب بفخامة الرئيس الصديق العزيز وأيضا الوفد المرافق